Well, you've asked me to say hello, you've asked me for some background as well as some reminiscing. So here's where I am at the moment in Oxford, and we're on the way into the place where I work. And if you're wondering who it is behind the camera, it's my colleague Shireen.
Hello everyone!
Here's a good bit of background, some snowdrops just showing us that we're now at the end of this English winter. And I know some of you remember English winters because you came over here to study straight from nice warm Seremban. Okay, so welcome to the Centre for Muslim Christian Studies in Oxford. Yeah, well, this is our palace. So you'll see it's got the ambience of an Oxford college, although this is not very old, this is only late 19th century, but we rent this from one of the Oxford colleges, and it was actually part of a monastery. So this was the place where the monks practiced their singing. We don't often sing in here these days, we use this as a seminar room and a place where people can have cups of tea. Okay, well, when I came to TKC, I was just 20 years old. So I was pretty scared because the older pupils, you know, the ones in the upper sixth, were actually older than me. And I knew a lot of physics, but I didn't know anything at all about teaching. So TKC was a real learning experience for me. I went as a volunteer with the British Voluntary Service Overseas, and I went with a very strong sense of God was calling me, and I went along to VSO in my last undergraduate year and volunteered, and I said to them, I'll do anything, but I don't want to teach. And they said, sorry, if you've got a degree in physics and nothing else, the only thing you can do is teach, and there are lots of places that do need physics teachers. So I said, okay, but you know, when I came and taught you lot, I enjoyed it so much that I've really never stopped teaching. So I still teach. I teach in theological colleges, anywhere where people give me an opportunity to teach, I will teach. But then, I mean, TKC was a very odd place for volunteers to come, because you expect when you go as a volunteer that what you're going to do is serve some disadvantaged people. And secondly, in going, I felt this was a call of God, so I was wanting to share my faith with people. So when VSO wrote to me and said they had this job for me in Malaysia, they said, but number one, this is a crowd of really privileged girls, and number two, they're all Muslims, and whatever you do, you mustn't share your faith with them. If they ask you questions, you can answer them. So, but I had this very strong feel that God was calling me, so I came, and I'm actually very, very glad that I did. And it was interesting, they told me the reason that they were willing to put a volunteer into that school was because many of the girls were going to go and studied overseas, and they were at the beginning then of the positive discrimination for the Malays. So they explained that they were wanting the girls, A, obviously to have a good education, but B, to meet some Westerners so that when they went overseas things weren't so strange. So that was interesting, and of course it enabled me to meet an incredible bunch of people. And in fact, from your particular year, I think there are 4 of you that have been to visit me since I've been in Oxford in these last few years. So Masria came, Surya came, and Mariha, and then Marina Mahathir. So I've greatly benefited from getting to know you. And from the point of view of going to be in a Muslim school, of course, I learned a very great deal, and in many ways that was the first step on the journey that has brought me here to this Centre for Muslim Christian Studies. So I would just like to say thank you. I don't know what it was like from your end, but from my end, I got to know some really interesting people. I enjoyed myself, and I learned a huge amount. Okay, do we want some reminiscing now?
Yes, please. Do you have some?
Oh, I've got some photographs downstairs. And actually, I don't know whether you've noticed this. Is Rokia Don there with you, I wonder? And I wonder whether, if so, she remembers. Oh dear, there's a hole in this. I don't know whether Rokia might remember crocheting this specially for me and putting it into my hand in a little wrapped up packet just before I left with a lovely card. So I've kept it ever since. Thank you. Great, well, this is my office, and you'll see it's not terribly tidy. But, oh, you may notice this piece of batik, which was one of my farewell gifts, but I can't remember what class that came from. And here's another farewell gift. That might be been from one of your years. When I was asked for some reminiscences, I went and dug out my TKC folder, which has other things than TKC stuff in, and I thought I'd look and see what I could find that might relate to your year. It's got some very special cards to me, and here is my Bon Voyage card from Sada. And Sada, of course, I'm terribly proud of you. Sada became a full professor of physics, as did Junaida, and others did really well in their physics. But Sada, I don't know if you're there, if you remember this. You say, "Miss Ida, here's a secret. I really love physics, but how unlucky I only shine in physics once in a blue moon." Actually, you were quite good at physics. What else have I got here? Well, here's my farewell card from 5K with a verse in. I still don't know really what it means. And all your signatures. So photographs, I mean, we didn't have anything like so many photographs in those days. I had some great ones that were taken by school photographers. So here, do you remember Chitbadia? And here are all the teachers there. And I'm right there. I don't remember myself like that. And then there was sports day photographs. Here's Kalsum, who I was so proud of because she was greenhouse winning a race at the sports day. Oh yeah, look. Here's me in guide uniform. And that's greenhouse with all their cups. And here's Asma, who used to live downstairs from me. You know, I had to be a house teacher. At 20 years old, I had to live in the house with this whole crowd of adolescent girls, and I was supposed to be responsible for making sure they got to bed at night and all that kind of stuff. And the greatest nightmare was trying to do dormitory inspection, where you had to mark them out of 10. And you girls were so tidy that we would go around looking for, you know, one little spot of something that you hadn't swept up in order to give you 9.5 instead of 10 marks. It's very difficult. The dining room. I can remember sitting up at the end occasionally and having some kind of chicken pineapple dish that was very special on Fridays. The corridors where we sheltered from the rain. I mean, and here's my own photograph of the garage with the buses in, and Patrick, who drove the buses, is a great memory. But looking at that, one of the things it reminds me of is that I had this little Honda motorbike So here is my driving licence, and inside, did I really look like that? But when I first got that, whoever it was from the British Council delivered it to the school. Now, I had never ridden a motorbike before. I did not know how to ride a motorbike. I think I did actually have a car driving licence, but I'd hardly ever driven. So I was given this bike and they showed me how to start it. So I got on it and I started, and I realised they hadn't told me how to stop it. So I rode it into a hibiscus bush. And there were a number of girls watching. I don't know whether any of you were there, but that's my cringe moment. What else have we got in here? Oh, look, here are the prefects getting sworn in. I could see some of you who were certainly in that batch. That's Alini and Haliza. Who else is that? Rukaya, Norita, I think. Anyway, I'm sure you were feeling terribly proud in those pictures. Oh, just memories of not just the school, but the place. I think that was on the way to visit Agsma's kampong. You can almost smell the heat, even from that little picture. A visit to Port Dickson. One of the things I do remember is taking a bunch of girls to Port Dickson and getting incredibly sunburned, so I couldn't even write on the board for about a week. And here's another wonderful memory. Durians in the market in Seremban. I can smell them. What else did I want to show you? Oh, these are just more sports pictures. You just can't imagine girls dressed like that now. That's an interesting memory. The teachers were told to make sure that your skirts were not more than 2 inches above the knee. And what we were told was you had to kneel on the ground, and we had to get a ruler and check that they weren't more than 2 inches off the ground. I mean, you just can't imagine a school of Malay girls dressed like that. And this is the most fun thing I found. The campus bulletin, Wednesday the 5th of September 1973. And it's got in here an interview with Miss Ida. This is apparently part 1. I've no idea where the part 2 is. So it tells you about my birthday and my family. It has a little joke. A smile is a curve that sets things straight. It's absolutely typical of TKC humour. Then the thing that I really like here is her impressions of TKC. She thinks that the girls here are fantastically polite. And boy, were you, compared to what English schoolgirls would have been. She has not met any girl that she doesn't like yet. Well, actually that was true, but I can't imagine my having said anything else if somebody had been interviewing. She enjoyed teaching TKC girls, and she thinks that Chick Badia is a very warm, very charming and nice person. What does she think of her fellow teachers? They're very good and cooperative staff. She said that we're really lucky because they work very hard. She has lots of friends amongst them. They're very patient with her and understanding to her personally. And I think that was really important to me. You know, when you're 20, you do think that you know a lot, but actually you don't. And when you're fresh out from your own country and you don't know people, however exciting it may be, and they've all got teacher training, have been teaching for years, and you're starting right from scratch, you need a lot of kindness. So I'm very thankful for the time at TKC, and I'm very thankful to all you girls, and I hope you have a great reunion.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, and by the way, it was Haniza who asked me for Reminiscences. Now, my memory of you, Haniza, is that you were very bright, but also, dare I say, a little bit lazy. So sometimes you would make brilliant responses to questions. So I'm sure it was you who, in the science exam, when asked to name a substance that would dissolve in hot water, not cold water, didn't name whatever chemical it is, and I've forgotten now, but said coffee, and had to get full marks because it was right. And the other thing that I remember is the English teacher showing me a rather bright essay you'd written in an exam. And it was an essay which the title was something like A Time of Worry or something like that. And what you did was write a whole essay about sitting in an English exam worrying about which essay title to write. But they were so good. I didn't actually realise how bright they were until I went and taught in other schools afterwards, and I realised that this bunch were really, really good.
Well, thank you. And you want to say goodbye?
No, I don't want to say goodbye. I'd really rather say hello, and I'd really rather come and see you all and say hello. So no, I don't want to say goodbye at all.
Then hello.
Hello.